2025 is a crazy year. And why is it a crazy year? Because we're seeing CEOs like the Salesforce CEO is starting to get excited about layoffs because he probably has something that we don't know yet. Developed some AI tool or something. So he's really confident in saying that we're going to let a bunch of people go. We're going to make a bunch of money with this new AI tool, with this AI stuff. And we're seeing that this is the name of the game. If your organization in the private sector isn't developing an AI tool, it's going to be really, really hard to stay relevant and to compete unless you're kind of in the defense contractor world or government where they're like, AI leaking and everything else. But if you are in the private sector and you're like, oh my gosh, our organization needs to do something or it's going to be dying on the vine. It's almost like if you're going to bring a 2002 Toyota Prius to a 2025 Formula One race and trying to get a trophy. It's just not going to work. Even if you have that big head start, it's just not going to happen. So, what you do, you got to tear it apart. You got to take what's working and you got to rebuild it and make sure that AI is a huge component of it so your employees can leverage it and maximize output without actually increasing a whole bunch of stress and the whole bunch of layoffs. Because when you do these layoffs, then all of a sudden knowledge gets lost and it's going to be kind of devastating. So I'm telling you, in order for you to go out and be successful, you got to have AI on your resume. You got to do some AI research on how your company's implementing AI because it's such a huge part of the future of automation, of all kinds of things. And that's why the CEO of Salesforce is so excited about doing layoffs. And I don't know about Salesforce. I don't know what they're going to be doing. But when a CEO comes out and he's excited about it, he must have something that we don't know about. And whenever I make content and I'm ever talking about business stuff related, I'm talking about what other people do, I have to do in my own organization. So with this AI layoff, I always implement it in my own business because when I say to you guys, you got to do AI tools, you got to do that. We developed an AI tool for Ali for applying. She will check your resume. She will check your networking script. She will check your emails, and she can do a whole bunch of different things on just job searching. So it's a hyper focused tool to just applying. And this is what I've been telling you guys. You got to have AI. And we had somebody to do these resume checks, to do all this kind of stuff. But now we just kind of use AI because it was just too expensive and we can cut our dollar and spend it on ads or spend it on other stuff so we can then get more clients. And so that's should be something that you and your organization should consider. And whenever I make content, whenever I read some of you guys' comments, and you know I like to do comments. Let me give you a little bit of background before we go into this comment. So I made a video yesterday basically saying that McDonald's increased their prices from 2019 to 2023 40%. And then, so this guy thinks he's super smart. You can't use the official average inflation rate over the last 5 years to peg fast food increases off of because during the same period, raw food prices went up by about 35%. So fast food went up accordingly. This guy's a poor analyst and would never make it in business. So I actually do own my own business and I'm actually am making it. But that's nor here nor there. And first I kind of got mad about this comment. But then I had to say, you know what? This is my own fault because I didn't articulate my point good enough in this video. So I actually appreciate a comment like this. So when these companies increase their prices so much, this has nothing to do with inflation. Inflation is not a key concern of McDonald's, of Wendy's, of Tyson Foods, or anything else. So why is inflation not a concern when we're talking about all of this? It's just a consumer problem. So why it is just a consumer problem is the same thing why airlines come out and says, oh, and fuel prices went up and everything else. No, they're just saying that because there's hedges. So what does that mean? That means protecting your downside. So we're going to look at a guy basically explaining hedging and what does that mean? Because McDonald's does hedging. So what they're doing basically is that they're locking in multi-decade contracts to make sure that they're not volatile, like this guy said, 35% or 40 or 100. So when you can control the supply chain, you control your product and you can control the prices. So let's watch in an understandable way what hedging means.
There's something called hedging, which allows you to take a portion of your production. So let's say we were making 100,000 barrels a month. I can take 25% of those barrels, so 25,000 barrels a month, and offset it at a cheaper price. Meaning, if I think oil's at 78 today, the hedging company will say, hey, we'll lock you in at 68. So you'll lose $10 a barrel right now. But if oil drops to 50, they'll still pay us the 68. So it's kind of like locking in your price at a lower rate. And then that way it keeps the whole portfolio safe because now you're not just banking on one commodity price. You also have your fixed rate.
So this is how hedging kind of works. And when we're looking at McDonald uses meat hedging along with financial strategies to manage the cost and risk associated with the meat supply. So when you're McDonald's, a 40% increase, they did not pay that 40% increase. No, they just put that on to the consumer and they come out and say, oh, our cost of business went up. Oh, this came up. Here we go. So you can ask AI and you can look at it. McDonald uses a network of supplier under long-term partnerships rather than a single universal contract. The company works with different suppliers for its beef, chicken, and plant-based product, with contracts lasting several years or even decades. So when you're looking at decades-long contracts, you know that inflation was already factored in once they signed the contract. And when we're talking about hedging, fuel companies have been doing this. Aviation companies have been doing this for many, many years. And they've locked in prices, and so they pay a fixed price over a certain amount of time, regardless if it goes up or down. And the same is with McDonald's, Wendy's. We're looking at all these big suppliers. You'd be foolish to not go into this billion-dollar industry and not have these contracts in place. So when people leave comments like this was kind of my fault of not articulating that. And I kind of missed that when I was on my walk because I was like, my allergies were going crazy. So my video did not turn out the way it should have. And I should have articulated a little bit better that if you're an executive leader, your number one thing is to protect your downside and kind of increase the upside by a few percent every year. But the main key is to protect your downside. And this is what hedge funds do and everything else. And so that's why hedge funds don't get a 20, 30% rate on return on their money. No, they'll just give you one or two, but they'll try to protect you really, really on the downside. And so when I'm looking at all this stuff and I'm looking at McDonald's, I'm looking at AI, you got to protect your downside. And this is what I'm always saying. You as yourself, you have to put insurance in place for yourself with an emergency fund with skills so that you're not going to be obsolete. And you can do this in multiple ways with going to conferences, getting certifications, and making sure that you're a likable person. This is very easy said to be a likable person, but it's not very easily done because I've spoke to so many people, and I can see during the interviews, as we saw with the one with Patrick P. David, he's just unhireable. He lost an opportunity of getting a job from Patrick P. David because he was hung up on the details. And some of you guys said, "Oh, I wouldn't want to work 67." Just real quick, please like and subscribe. 80% of you guys are not liked and subscribed. So yeah, thanks. Let's continue on with the video. 70 hours a week. Well, he already worked 60, 70 hours a week and didn't make it. So Patrick P. David offered him the same deal, just a better job, and said, I would mentor you. And this guy then blew it off. And whenever you have opportunities like this, nowhere else in the world can you get these opportunities unless you're living inside the United States. I don't know a podcast or anybody else that offered these incentives to anybody. Go to Europe, go everywhere else, and I'm telling you, it is not going to happen to you. And this is why I love the United States so, so much. There's people out there that are willing to show it to you. There's people that are willing to give back to the community, that are willing to do it. But then there's people that are stubborn, that got stuck up on their ways. And when you watch that full interview with Patrick P. David against 20 anti-capitalists, he said, you know what? If you like communism so much, he'll pay you 20 grand, first class ticket, and he'll pay to get your passport revoked. And he was like, then fly to any country. And none of these people took it up. They said, oh, it's not great. It's not great. But do they want to leave? Do they want to change? No. And when I make content and I point something out, it's not that it is that I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to leave because this is bad. No, this is still the best place to get upwards mobility. Whatever statistics out there, whatever else is out there, I'm going to make a bold claim and I'm going to say that I'd rather be homeless inside the United States with a US social security number and a passport than middle class in Europe and no opportunity to do anything else. Because I know inside the United States, you can make it out of the gutter and you can do it. Look at the NVIDIA CEO, from dishwasher to NVIDIA CEO. How crazy is that? Crazy, crazy, crazy. And the only thing you need is an ID and a social security number, and you can still do it. I bet you can do it. And it's going to take you a few steps. It's going to take you to not be stubborn, as this guy on Patrick P. David's podcast. So when I say that stuff, and I say I'd rather be homeless inside the United States than in middle class in Europe, because I know in the middle class in Europe, I would still be middle class in Europe, and I would probably not break out of the middle class in Europe because, as I said, I live there. They get you up to that 70, $80,000 a year, and then you just hit a ceiling and you are done. And here inside the United States, you can make it. You can really do it. The only problem with when you're homeless and you have an addiction, that's a whole nother ball game. But you can still make it. And I truly, truly believe that with my heart that this is by far the best place to live, to raise kids, to do anything, because the amount of opportunities that people get is so crazy. But but one of my viewers said it right. The opportunities most people don't even realize till it's past. And what you got to do is you got to have your mindset right. You can't do drugs, you can't do alcohol. You got to keep your mindset right during the week so you can then utilize those opportunities, and got to eat right, you got to act right, you got to treat your body right. And then once you're going to do that, I'm telling you, the sky's the limit. You can do it. You can go tomorrow, start a school community and make $1 million. You can do that. You can go out and offer your services as a plumber, go freelance on the side. You can do anything. And I'm telling you, in Europe, it is bloody hard. And if you want to do it here inside the United States, the cost of opening up your own LLC here is way, way less than it is in Europe. So this is absolutely crazy. And when people ask me, why did I leave? Because of opportunities. So when I came to the United States, I was like, oh, I'm going to stay here for a little while. And then I was going to move to Australia where my uncle lives. So that was kind of my ideas. But then I met Ali, and then I started to realize and I started to grasp the opportunities that you can get inside the United States, and have never, ever experienced anything like it. And so this is so hard for Europeans to understand. This is hard to understand for people inside the United States, that they're like, oh, I'm making excuses for myself and everything else. No, stop making excuses. Read Atomic Habits. Gonna do better 1% every day. And then once you're gonna start doing that, you will see how you're gonna be elevating yourself. Get better friends, um, get better contracts, get better clients, do all kinds of stuff. And I'm telling you, your world will change for the better. So listen to the right people. But I see people watch what Logan Paul does, watch what Taylor Swift's engagement does. And I see all these people get stuck up on these lawsuits with Blake Laldoni, and I see all this other stuff when I do research on my videos, and I see people 5 million views, 10 million views. We see this lawsuit about this creator and doing all this. You guys are caught up in the drama rather than just saying, you know what? What we're going to do now is we're going to start listening to a podcast that will actually further my business, further my skills, sharpen my tool set, and start looking at it. Because I'm telling you, if you can then reference books and interviews or something else, it's just classier than just not than having your dad in your underwear walk past the camera while you're doing that. And I've seen it. I had interviews where some where I was interviewing this one person, and their dad in their underwear walked past the camera. And I was like, what is that? When you're going to be talking to my clients, this is a no go. And so I'm telling you, there's so many opportunities. You just got to harness them. You got to find your niche, and then you got to utilize. And it's going to be hard. And when people tell me, oh, why don't you sell everything? Why don't you resell everything and redo it again? And I actually thought about it, but then I was like, you know what? I have Calvin on the way. I have Ali. I'm just not going to do that because feel like I've already put in my time. I've put in my time. So what I'm doing with YouTube is I'm trying to give back and have you guys understand the lessons I've learned, the pitfalls that I've done, and what I'm doing so you guys can capitalize on my knowledge. And this is why I haven't pushed anything on YouTube really. I haven't taken on sponsor deals. I'm getting sponsors every day. People message me, hey, do you want to promote this? Do you want to do this? and they're paying me 4,000. They would pay me 4 grand for me making a dedicated video about some AI tool or something else. And so I'm telling you, once you're starting to put yourself out there, opportunities will come. But this is not where I want to go. I don't want to sell you guys all this AI tools or anything else. I'm just here to tell you guys this is what I'm seeing. This is where I'm going. And I'm trying to take you along the journey of what I'm doing, where I'm going. And hopefully you can learn a little bit about what I'm doing and saying, you know what? This might be an alternative option to what I'm doing. Or maybe you're like, this guy's talking about AI so much. Maybe I should learn a little bit about it and just invest the time you're sitting on the toilet at home and look at like, oh, let's download GPT, let's download Gemini, and let's see what it is all about. Is this really worth it? Is this really doing it? And then do your own research and then come back next time I upload a video and say, you know what? I tested it out and I kind of like it, but these are the flaws. And now you know the flaws, and so you can capitalize on it. And when I make videos and I talk about the real estate market's not doing great, great. If you had money, you're gonna be super wealthy, rich if you're gonna then capitalize on the downturn. But then people say, oh, this is whole doom and gloom content. This is bad. No, it's actually not bad. It is actually giving you the opportunity for these people that were holding out, that were waiting, that were gonna do that were sitting on the sidelines and they got their finances straight. They paid off debt. They paid off their student loans. They didn't go out and buy $80,000 Kia Tellurides over asking price. They didn't go out and buy Yukons that are getting repoed now. And now you're like, you know what? Maybe I want to buy a Yukon. Maybe I want to buy an Escalade. And what is happening now? People have to make deals because credit is harder to come by. Good people with money to put on down payments and everything harder than ever to find. So it is your time if you've done it right. If you watch my videos, your time's coming. And yeah, this was it. So please, if you haven't, like and subscribe. Let me know what you guys think about all this. And I'll see you guys in the next one.